Hi, welcome to IBC 2017. I'm Joe O'Halloran, Editor-in-Chief of Rapid TV News, and I'm here with Charles Dawes, Senior Director of International Marketing at TiVo. Afternoon, Charles, and welcome back to IBC.
Thank you.
Looking behind you, there's a serious hole of great customers. What are they asking from you right now? How are they changing their offer?
Yeah, as you say, a great list of customer names that as TiVo we're very, very proud to have. We serve over 500 operators around the world. And what we're seeing is that continuation of those trends of people looking to have a service that aggregates content across multiple sources. We're starting to see more and more people asking for voice as part of the solution. And in general, stepping up their game because some of their businesses, some of the challenges to their business over the last few years have changed as more and more content sources have come into the market.
Very true. I don't think that's going to get any worse with the skinny bundles, direct to consumer. It's like video just seems to exploding again. But what have you found out about the market in general? I believe you've done some research lately.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And as you know, over the last few years, at IBC, traditionally, we've launched the latest round of our research. And again, this year, we've put out the first wave of our 2017 consumer research. And one of the areas that we focused on and really found something really distinct and different in this first wave this year was around the tenure of how long people have been with their operator. And what we really found was there was two distinct groups forming. One was what we termed the long-term loyalists, so the people who'd been with their operator 4 years or more, had a different set of behaviours to what we were calling the fickle newbies, so the people who'd been with their operator for a year or less. And finding that actually those people with a year or less have a much higher propensity to actually look to churn away from the service. So finding that actually the loyalists really are the people who stay loyal, and the newbies are the people who are going between services, are changing their services much more often.
Do you think that's because people are having loyalty towards programs rather than channels? And does that affect the grid? Is the grid or are the days of the grid numbered because of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we see is obviously you see that trend of people wanting to viewing by program brand, and obviously over the last few years, with the influx of the new OTT sources, we've seen more and more actual great television program being produced. And those big name shows, and so we need to have discovery experiences that are able to enable people to find those. One of the most important things, obviously, is being able to aggregate across the whole spectrum. So one of the things we've done for a long time at TiVo is actually be able to integrate all of the catalogues. We were one of the first people, in fact, the first people to integrate Netflix into the guidance experience with Virgin Media. And so having that ability to find content irrespective of source is really important. But at the same time, actually what we need to do is we need to account right the way across the market, because actually when you look at those, the different groups, the newbies and the loyalists, actually you've got people who are, yes, looking to consume content on their terms, on their schedule, but at the same time, we still see across lots of countries, actually linear viewing still holds up very strong. So I don't think it's the days of the grid per se are numbered. We still need to be able to provide people with an experience that allows them to see very quickly across multiple sources what's on television. But I think what we do see actually is some of those newer forms of discovery coming into play, and one of those obviously is voice.
You know, we've been here at IBC a few times. A couple of years back, when voice was something new. Is it now gone beyond a nice to have and a must have?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, and like you say, we've been at the forefront of the voice revolution at TiVo, and certainly within the conversational voice, so allowing that very natural dialogue between you and the system. It really is now, we're starting to see, and especially when you look across voice as an input method, not just in the entertainment discovery space, but with the influx of the smart assistants and the smart speaker products. Actually, we've got to the point, we've got past that tipping point, and now we're starting to see operators, people like Sky, actually putting voice search really at the core of their mainstream products. And it's something that I think consumers are starting to think that actually this is something that should be part of the service. It's not just a premium option. It's actually, it becomes a default part of the service. And the reasons for that is around how simple it makes the system again. You don't need to go through that search for search. You simply express yourself, and be it the 50% of the time when you know what you want to watch, and you just say what you want to watch, and you get straight to it without clicking through multiple menus, or that other half of the time when you don't quite know what you want to watch, but you have an idea. And the beauty of a system like the TiVo conversation service as part of our personalised content discovery actually allows you to express those multiple terms, that quite complex search query that would be impossible to do with a remote control. And I think we've seen, both within the research that we've seen, where actually once you have these the voice assistants, be it across an operator's product or across the other products, actually the frequent use of it is very high. So within our survey, again, we saw 60% of people who have these types of devices are using them on a daily basis. And in the entertainment discovery space, actually, it makes so much sense. It's a use case that really works for people. So they really are embracing it.
And is that how you keep the fickle newbies stop them from being fickle newbies?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely one of the ways to help, is actually to see that enable them to get to the content. I mean, one of the things that obviously last year we talked about the show dumping, and again this year there was a very high proportion of people who said that they've turned off their device because they can't find something to watch. That challenge still remains there, that we've given consumers access to a really broad range of content, and now we're able to give them the tools to be able to discover that. And certainly in the voice space, one of the things that's really there is when you ask a question, so you ask what's on TV, there's a really implied for me there. I'm not asking for the Radio Times a list of general. Actually, I'm asking what's my television.
In addition to voice and those advanced discovery techniques, what else have you got here at IBC?
So here at IBC, we're bringing the first view of what we're calling TiVo Experience 4. So as we've, over the last year, we've consolidated all of our products and our product lines. And so TiVo Experience 4 is the next generation of the TiVo user experience, and that integrates voice into it, and it integrates all of the great work we've done around predictions in the recommendation space. So that's making sure we've got exactly the right program for you on this device, in this room, at this time, taking into account all of that, those additional pieces of context that make a service really personal. And through our complete guidance stack, right the way from streaming, being able to offer streaming devices, through the kind of Linux STBs that operators deploy, through down into even on Android TV, and other lower cost solutions as well, and of course in the mobile space as well.
You mentioned before, like, embedding, say, Netflix on the Virgin and the Comhem guide. Do you see a lot of that movement as Amazon moves across?
So I think what we see in general is that there is that need to integrate those OTT sources, and so obviously dependent on where in what's available in different markets, we work to integrate those sources. But from a consumer point of view, and we definitely see this when we talk to end consumers, is they don't want to have to deal with the complexities of multiple services and multiple apps. Actually, what they want content. They want the program that they're binge watching. They want to get back to it as quickly as possible. And so being able to provide that experience, which is what we do with the TiVo user experience, it really fulfills their need, because let's watch the content. I'm not going in and out of every app. I can't remember which program's related to which app brand. Actually, it is, as we said before, it's about the program.
So as you said, if voice is certainly now mainstream, it certainly isn't novel. But what new and novel technologies do you foresee in the next 12 months that are going to assist in search, discovery, and giving users that sense of being able to stay on top of all that content?
Yes, I think what we will see definitely is that as voice rolls out across more and more of our interactions with computers, the key thing behind that is obviously some of the artificial intelligence and machine learning that goes on behind the scenes that actually makes it possible from the ability for the machine to understand us. So that's now at the kind of same rates as humans being able to understand each other. And then on top of that, us actually being able to understand what the person's actually said and how that relates into the context. I think that's going to continue to make a big difference and drive not only voice but also be able to drive the recommendation systems and personalization systems, but also drive some of the analytics products on the backside that help operators to be able to run their businesses, to be able to understand what their consumers are doing, both on an individual level and on a group level.
Is it that complex that only AI has the answer to deal with all the variables?
So I think it certainly is a very, very complex area. AI is helping us in the fact that this allows us to do things a lot more quickly than previously, and certainly things like in the metadata space, our ability to be able to create much deeper, much richer sets of information about content in a way that we could never have done if we were only using human editors really is a game changer for the content discovery and for the end consumer ultimately, who will be able to find that content that they love.
Let's see how far the game changes. Charles, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. And thank you for watching.